Welcome back to the Time Warp, everyone. If you have seen my first Legacy video going over character abilities from pre-Jasco / UVS games characters in Universus that I would like to see kind of format boosted up, this is my second video. I've got a third one in the works as well, so we're going over 10 new characters with one additional kind of honorable mention. So, without further ado, let's get into it. First, we have Night Terror. Just upload him here. So, Night Terror has an enhance that you destroy one card in your stage, destroy one committed non-character card in your opponent's stage of the same type as the card you sacrificed for this ability. So, you can destroy your own asset to destroy their committed asset. You can destroy your own foundation to destroy one of their committed foundations. So kind of a tit for tat there. And then as a response, you can commit him to cancel an opponent's, a rival's ability that they play on their character. So one, a little bit more to kind of deal with characters, since that's kind of something we don't have a lot of, which by design I understand. But it's still kind of cool if your character can commit yourself, thus giving up your other ability to cancel a character ability. And the ability to just say, hey, I'm going to destroy this face-down foundation that I don't care about to destroy that foundation on your stage that's committed that I know is really going to give me trouble later. Or again, an asset or a backup, something like that. That kind of even tit-for-tat, I think is pretty cool. And I wouldn't mind seeing that being fast-forwarded to standard. Next we have Morrigan. Lovely Morrigan from the Darkstalkers. Again, I'm not going to be dealing with like the hand size, the symbols, the health. This is strictly for abilities. And this one says enhance, discard one card, remove one card in your opponent's discard pile from the game. This attack gets -X damage, X equals the removed card's difficulty. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can remove all of your rival's attacks and get like a whole bunch of minus damage. This is true. You are, however, giving up your ability to block later. So unless you're just keeping a whole hand of like 4 or 5 cards, you're probably only getting 1 to 2 removals per opponent's turn, unless you're, drawing defensively. So I can see where you can kind of do that. But also, if your rival has no attacks in their discard pile, maybe they've only milled a few, and you aren't able to do that, you're only getting maybe 1 to 2 damage penalty every time you discard one of these cards. So you are giving up your ability to block for the damage reduction. I think that is pretty even. The only thing I would say that if we wanted to kind of fair it up a little bit is maybe make the discard twice per turn, because then you're not just constantly removing all of your rival's attacks and then once they cycle, they're screwed. So maybe say that they have to remove only twice per turn, or remove one non-attack card in your rival's discard pile, but then I don't see why you would be doing just the discard as opposed to blocking. So maybe just like a twice per turn kind of deal would be more fair. Next we have Astaroth. Big bad Astaroth. As a response, he commits 2 foundations. Before you make a control check, the control check is equal to your momentum with no check necessary. So if you have 5 momentum, you can commit 2 foundations to just say, I checked a 5. Now, obviously, as you go with progressive difficulty, checking that 5 isn't going to matter so much when you're constantly committing 2 foundations in order to do this. But if you can stockpile a whole bunch of momentum, it could be worth it. If you've got a lot of snap momentum abilities, obviously this Astaroth has the chaos symbol. Maybe I would say to make it more fair, don't give the person with this ability the chaos symbol. But again, 2 foundations is a real cost. But you can also use this offensively and defensively. Saying, oh, my check to block, I have 4 momentum. I'm going to commit 2 foundations to say I checked a 4, and then I can commit 1 foundation, something like that, to at least not check the 3. Or especially if you're running a lot of low controls, like 2s and 1s, an ability like this can be very good to fall back on. So I think it is fair. You are committing foundations. That's a real cost. And, the check is equal to your momentum. So your rival could use abilities to force you to spend your own momentum which would pretty much leave you in a pretty big lurch. So similar to Cervantes of the last video, so if you have not seen the first time warp video, please go see that. It is, I believe this is fair and worth maybe reprinting something like that. Next we have M. Bison. Alright, we're just going to focus on the printed version here, because that is very blurry and not very well scanned. Response commit. So again, committing Bison. After your opponent places an attack into their card pool, but before they make the check, return that attack to their hand and choose one random card from their hand. They must attempt to play that card into their card pool if possible. If the card is impossible to play, it is discarded, and your opponent's combat phase ends if it is their turn. So this goes back to the old Legacy and Retro rule of symbol chaining, where you can play cards in your deck that do not share a symbol with your character, but you can only play cards into your card pool as long as they share at least one symbol with every other card in your card pool, and at least one symbol with your character. So I'd kind of remove that ability, because we are in Standard saying all cards have to share one symbol with your character, with the exception of attunement. But the ability to say, okay, you wanted to play that attack. Well, I'm going to commit this and put this card back into this attack back into your hand. I'm going to pick a random card from your hand, and that's the card you have to play instead. That can really mess up your rival's turn, especially if you choose like a foundation. So now they have to play with this extra progressive difficulty. I think that's just a really cool ability, especially since this is the only ability on the character and it commits the character as a cost. I think it's pretty fair. It's kind of like these things like Shinzo. We've seen Hitoshi, I think it's Hitoshi Shinzo, who says after your rival's attack resolves, choose a random card from their hand. They must attempt to play that card as their next form or discard it, I believe. So this is kind of taking the option away, but it is a little bit easier to pull off. I just think it's really neat. Next we have Zasalamel, one of my favorite characters from Soul Calibur 3, mainly because I like scythes. I like the aesthetic. He has response. If your opponent would discard cards, but has no cards to discard, they lose 2 health for each card they would have discarded. That's ridiculous. That is an incredible amount of burn damage that you can lop onto if you can empty your rival's hand and then force them to, like, both players draw one card and discard one card and then draw one card. Something like a Botan's coaching. Oh, you had no cards in your hand to discard. You're going to draw one, but you're also going to burn 2. This can also kill your rival. I hate burn abilities that kill. So I would make this, especially on a character, I believe I would make this much more fair by saying that it cannot reduce your rival below 2. And then he also has enhance, commit, spend 1 momentum. If this attack deals damage, so either you or your rival's attack, neither you nor your opponent may draw any cards during their next respective ready phases. So you say, cool, if this attack deals damage, so say you play it on your own turn, say you do it with a throw. Actually, I'd make this after this non-throw attack deals damage. Let's make it a little bit more fair. I'm going to throw this attack at you. If it hits, you don't get to draw during your next ready phase. Because I don't get to draw during my next ready phase either, but if you have a lot of discard abilities that you can play during your rival's next very limited turn, you can just rip their hand out and burn them a whole bunch. So I think these abilities really work very well in concert. And again, both very powerful abilities. But aside from the burn being able to kill and the momentum costing ability not saying non-throw, I think it's pretty fair. Those are just the 2 changes I would make. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Next we have R. Mika from Street Fighter. Let's see. I thought I had a note on her, but maybe I didn't. This character deals with tokens, kind of like the counter characters, like Shoji and Muscular. Instead, it's locked tokens. So as a response, you may ready one of your opponent's foundations, one of your rival's foundations. When you're taking damage from an attack, reduce that damage by X to a minimum of 1. X equals the difficulty of the readied foundation. I think this is a very cool ability, because you are giving your rival a resource back, but you're reducing the damage you take. So it's a bit of a give and take there. That's pretty fair. If you ready up their 3 difficulty foundation, which 3 difficulty foundations usually have pretty good abilities, they're losing 3 damage, but you're giving them a good resource back. And that's not once per turn, obviously, because you're constantly refreshing your rival's stage. As an enhance, if your attack deals damage, this character gets a lock token on them. And as an enhance, you can remove X lock tokens to a minimum of 1. Your attack gets plus X damage. If your attack is a throw, this ability may not be cancelled or negated, which mean the same thing, pretty much. So basically, you can give a whole bunch of free damage to a throw. She wants to be a throw character. And that's fine, I guess. I don't really like this use for counters. I mean, I guess it's fine. I don't like getting a whole bunch of free damage on throws. But I really do like the ability to ready my rival's stage to reduce the damage I take. So, okay, I'm going to ready that 2 difficulty. That maybe has like a once per turn ability on it. I'll take 2 less damage. Granted, it does say to a minimum of 1, so you cannot zero out attacks with this ability, which I think makes it even more fair. And that's the main thing that caught my eye about this Mika. Moving on. Yonsong. So he only has a response. Response, when you fail the control check to play a card, you may commit cards in your momentum as well as foundations to make your check successful. I think that's really cool. I like this ability of using your momentum as another resource and not just, rounds in a gun. Usually you just use momentum as like those bullets for powerful, echo, EX, what have you. So being able to use them also as kind of these foundations in your momentum. Now granted, momentum does not ready at the start of your ready phase. So in theory, this would have very limited uses. In fact, I think okay. Dash KO. Not cop. So we can commit 1 momentum with Hsien Ko to add the top card of either player's deck to their discard pile. I don't believe you would be able to ready your momentum, because I don't believe in your I think readying cards in your stage, momentum is not technically in your stage, I don't believe. So this would in theory have very limited use. But I do think it's a very cool ability. Granted, I have only played Hsien Ko once. I don't remember if she has ways to ready her momentum as various effects, or if there is an age-old rule that says you can ready your momentum, because I have not seen very many uses for momentum that would cause them to commit. So, any elder gods much older than myself with this game, let me know in the comments below if you could ready momentum as a rule, as just during your ready phase, ready your momentum. If so, that would make this ability much more powerful, but I kind of like the ability of you only have a certain number of momentum that you can use then, because they won't ready, so you don't get to just abuse this fail check ability. I think that would make it more fair and be really, really cool. Next we have Tam Tam. Not Tam Cardwell. Tam Tam. He's got a static that says, while this card is committed, during the end phase, any blocks you played this turn may be added to your momentum instead of discarded. That's cool. We like hoarding momentum. And he just says, after I block, those blocks can go to my momentum instead of being discarded. But that is while this character is committed. So you would give up on the response, which says after your rival adds a card to their momentum during the end phase, they lose 1 health. So each time they add one of their attacks that dealt damage to their momentum, they're losing 1 health for each of those attacks. So you can either commit him to pass like a check to block and get a whole bunch of blocks to your momentum, or you can deal burn damage based on the amount of attacks your rival takes into their momentum. Obviously, they can choose not to take their attacks to momentum, and you wouldn't get really any value out of your character. So it is kind of this guessing game of, am I going to block and get momentum as well as you do, or am I going to let you hit me a little bit, maybe partial block some things. You can get your momentum, you can get those bullets for yourself, but you will lose the health as a cost. I think that's pretty cool, and it's kind of like a guessing game of how you want to play the character. Genjuro is next, and I do have a note for him. So as a response, he destroys 1 foundation. After you check a card with a printed control of 1, that check becomes X. X equals the destroyed foundation's control. That is really good, because the main reason people don't want to play 1 checks is because they hate checking 1 checks. And any excuse to play more 1 checks, I am all about it, because I love 1 diffs and 2 diffs. I think they're easily some of the most fun cards to play. Keenan Meadows can back me up on this, because that man loves Coffee Samba. And then he also has a response here, reveal the top card of your deck. This attack is plus X to its powerful rating. X equals your momentum minus the control of the revealed card to a minimum of 0. So if you reveal a 1 check on top of your deck, and your momentum is 5, your powerful rating gets plus 4. That's ridiculous. But again, any excuse to play more low difficulty attacks. And the note I had was for the Genjiro's top ability, which is the destroy 1 foundation response, I would say that it has to destroy a ready foundation. Because to be able to commit a foundation and then blow it up to say I checked a 6, like say a number 10 pro hero, I commit it to pass a check, and then I'm going to blow it up on my next check to say I checked a 6 when I really should have checked a 1, a little bit busted. So being able to forcing yourself to destroy a ready foundation makes this a bit more of an even trade. Saying, yeah, you checked the 5, but you did have to actually give up a ready resource. And again, any excuse to play more 1 checks, or to get UVS games to print more 1 checks. I love them. Next we have Gil. Gil says, as a static, the first attack each player attempts to play during their turn gets plus 1 to its difficulty. So automatically making your first attack more difficult to play. Hello, Sam. As a response, he says he commits himself for cost. After your opponent plays an attack with a higher damage than difficulty, they must either commit X foundations or discard that attack from their card pool and cancel it. X equals the difference between this attack's damage and difficulty. So this could be a way to play as your first attack, a 5 difficulty, 6 damage attack. Your first attack is plus 1 difficulty, so it's a 6 difficulty, 6 damage. But for some of these more value attacks, which are like a 4 difficulty with 5 damage, your rival's going to have to commit that extra foundation in order to, not lose this attack. So if it's like, oh, it's a 4 difficulty attack, but it's an 8 damage because it's like a throw or something, they'd have to commit 4 extra foundations if you commit Gil. And I think that's kind of cool. Punishing your rival for playing some of these more high-value pieces, which could just be damage sticks. Like there's a Kaden attack that's a 6 difficulty blank attack that's just like a 5 high for 10, which is nuts. So 5 high for 10 on a 6 diff, you'd have to commit 4 extra foundations on top of what you'd have to commit to pass your check. So if your rival checks good, they maybe commit 1 or 2 extra foundations. If they check bad, maybe you just delete an attack entirely. And this could really save you later in a string when your rival's maybe playing a 4 diff or a 3 diff with a bit more buff to its damage. So I think that's pretty cool. I just think that's a really neat thing. Or just having the static that says, attacks are going to get more difficult to play. I'm up for either of those. And for our honorable mention today, we have Alba from King of Fighters. As a response, he commits himself and says, before you play an attack as a reversal, see the Hermit School lesson on the reversal keyword in Retro, you may play any attack in your hand as a reversal. So you commit this card when you activate the reversal response in your hand to play that reversal attack during your rival's turn after you have blocked their attack. But before you play that activated ability, you get to play any other attack in your hand as if it was a reversal. So effectively, you're getting 2 attacks for the price of 1. Of course, you will have to deal with progressive difficulty, but that doesn't matter if you think you can kill your rival. And as an enhance, if this attack played as a reversal deals damage, look at your opponent's hand, choose 1 card, your rival discards that card. If you're getting 2 attacks for the price of 1, maybe X-nay on that enhance. Don't get that enhance just to say, oh, these 2 attacks hit you, I'm going to rip 2 cards out of your hand. Which, actually, because you have to commit Alba, you would not be able to use that enhance, so never mind. That is perfectly fair. And it makes reversals that much more dangerous. But the ability to just commit and say, I'm going to play 2 attacks for the price of 1, for being able to block 1 attack, I get to attack you twice, very, very powerful. Is it fair? Maybe not. Oh. Hold on. I'm seeing now that the printing up here is different from the actual card. The actual card says, response commit, before you could play an attack as a reversal, reveal an attack from your hand, it gains the reversal keyword until the end of the turn. So in effect, I had that wrong. Please forgive me. I am also only human. He says when you block an attack, you can commit this card, reveal any card in any attack in your hand, and treat that attack as if it has the reversal response keyword, so any attack in your hand can become a reversal. You're not getting 2 cards for the price of 1. You are getting any attack treated as a reversal. So, less powerful, much more fair. Yeah, I think I like that much better. I can see where the wording could be a little confusing, and maybe that's why they tried to clean it up up here. But that just made me read this ability entirely wrong. So, clarify, any attack in your hand can gain the reversal keyword before that window opens. So, when you block an attack, you could play a reversal. You're going to commit Alba, show your rival any attack, even if it doesn't have the reversal keyword. It gains the reversal keyword, and you may play that attack as a reversal on your rival's turn. Much more fair, much better. Yeah, so I think if that was the way it works, not the 2 for 1, which is probably why I chose this ability, was because when I made this list last week, I probably read the card itself and thought, oh, this is fair, this is cool, and didn't see that the scripting was different. So this should tell me that I need to make these videos as soon as I'm done creating the files for them. But that is all the characters we have for this trip into the Time Warp. We have one more character video, which will again have 10 and an honorable mention. And then I'm thinking about going through attacks, which are... there's a lot more of them, but I think they could be fun for, like, what kind of gimmicks the attacks can do. So maybe I'll do attacks. And then I was thinking of maybe doing a separate video for assets and foundations, or not foundations, assets and actions in the same video. I'm not entirely sure how I want to go about that, because with foundations, those just are there to support your characters. They don't really have a lot of individuality to them, so I don't think I'm going to do foundations. But let me guys know what you think of this little trip down memory lane and this celebration of all things pre-Universus in the Universal Fighting System Legacy format. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think of some of these older cards. If you are watching this and you played back in the Sabretooth and Fantasy Flight days, let me know what your favorite character would be to bring into modern, our current standard formats. I'd love to get your guys' opinion. If you like the video, please like it. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care.